Hi guys, welcome to Film Files. My name is Sid, and today I wanted to talk to you about a film that I recently saw on Netflix called I See You. This movie, I was happy to see that the director had a very clear vision behind the film. The director was extremely technical, the shots were very precise, the cinematography looked great, the lighting was purposeful, the camera movements were purposeful. The lighting was purposeful in the sense that they were able to draw our eye to things that mattered for the narrative of the film, which were great choices, and I really enjoyed those aspects of the film. I was a little bit let down by the music on a tonal level. They did go with soundscapes rather than melody for the film, for the soundtrack of the film, which I usually enjoy much more than melody, but in this specific case, I felt like there was something missing there. Something was adrift. It didn't really suit the mood of the film. It didn't encapsulate the creepiness or the mystery that the director wanted to portray with the music. So it didn't really work for me. It was a little bit jarring and it brought me out of the scene, which is definitely not what you want in the sense. The production design was clean, it was minimalist, it didn't look like a set, it looked like they shot on real locations, and it really suited the film. So that looked great as well. So overall, visually, technically, this film was A+. The negatives I have about this movie are that the director doesn't understand story and narrative as much as he understands the technical aspects. We see many scenes twice, which, unless you're going to put a very big spin on those scenes, seeing them twice is not advisable. We've seen films before that do same scene from different perspectives, like Rashomon, which is the classic example, the Kurosawa movie, and even recently Vantage Point. There are many films that do this, and this film didn't justify the need to showcase so many scenes twice in the film. 18 minutes into the film, I paused it and I took a guess. My guess was that, hey, either there's someone living inside the walls of this house or in the attic, and in minute 40 they bring up the concept of frogging. I don't know if that was much of a reveal, but at that point I kind of understood what the story was about. The first scene of the film opens up with a boy being abducted, and they show that in a fantastical sense, which you will understand if you see the film. I don't want to explain how that first scene was filmed, but that doesn't really play too much into the main story of the film. The main story of this film is with the family, the father who is the inspector, the mother who is cheated on the father and they're trying to reconcile, and the kid who's angry with his mother for the aforementioned act of cheating on his father. And those are the dynamics that we really play with for the first 40 minutes before we bring in the twist reveal and before the story progresses from the other side of the narrative. The issue with the narrative was that we really aren't following, or I couldn't really get into or care about or put myself in the shoes of any of the characters. I'm not sure why they cast Helen Hunt in this movie. She's capable of portraying a much deeper and more nuanced character than the one she did in this film. The character has barely anything to do, doesn't really portray many emotions, and the choices that the characters made felt forced into the narrative. For example, strange things are happening inside of the house and the characters don't really question it, they just accept it as for what it is, and we need them to accept it for what it is in that part of the story because we are going to reveal that later, and the director kind of plays it off as such, and hence it doesn't feel like a real person would react in this situation this way. Some of the twists in this film were handled with a soft touch, which actually enhances the movie. But I had an issue with the biggest twist that the director thought in this film was the very last scene of the film, where they crescendo the music and they reveal something to us that doesn't really impact us as an audience because the story has been completed, and the way that they connected this part to the story doesn't really add too much to the story. Hence, it didn't feel like a big twist had happened because by this point everything was wrapped up and it was a bit too late for the film. I am excited to see what this director does next. I think he is definitely someone to look out for because he really does understand how to direct an audience, and I hope that he really picks up his narrative storytelling skills as well as working with actors, because all the actors in this film were held back from their performances, except one person who I thought deserves a shout out for an excellent performance that she gives, which though basically she's only in one or two scenes, She plays Lieutenant Davis, and I believe the actress's name is Erica Alexander. She was great. She was subtle. She was very centered. I really believe that this character cared about what was happening to these boys in the film, but also she was frustrated about not being able to do anything about it. And the way she was very authoritative with her subordinates, it was a beautiful scene played by a talented actress, and I just wanted to give her a shout out. If you guys haven't seen this film, I would recommend watching it. I think it was a good attempt at a thriller that did work, that did achieve what it set out to achieve, and you would not be disappointed. Guys, do you want to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe buttons right there? I'm sure you can find it. Can you find it? Cool, thank you.